Problems for adults in learning English in Papua New Guinea. While the objective that has led to changes to the national curriculum in primary schools in PNG is ultimately a political one about the value of English, the changes themselves reflect the fact that there are pedagogical issues about the success of English learning in the country. My interest is in the difficulty adult learners, particularly higher education students, whether in PNG itself or in Australia as grant recipients, the problems they have with English, particularly with their reading and writing skills. Research among more than 500 final year high school and more than 700 first year university students in 1998 found positive attitudes, strong motivation, and a high degree of perceived benefit for the learning of English, and did not see it as a threat to their national identity, even though the students themselves acknowledged their limited capacity in English. Deficiencies in English have been well documented over the years. The research on how to address this issue, though, is almost non-existent. In fact, I am heavily reliant upon the research of my colleague Dennis McLaughlin. He has looked at the problems students face, where their teachers only have a basic grasp of English themselves, and where foreign concepts taught in English language have no equivalence in the vernacular languages, as well as the experience of second language learners and language problems for tertiary learners. Rote learning and a tolerance of not understanding often make up, to the extent that they can, for failure in comprehension, critical thinking, and dynamic educational interaction. While some of the problem with writing is due to overlap between Tok Pigeon and English in the pronunciation of many words that have different spelling, house, here, place, talk, name, please, goodbye, thank you, and emergency, for example, and the different word order in Tok Pigeon and English sentences, subject, object, verb, and subject, verb, object, as well as the correct use of tenses, one cannot overlook the even more fundamental problem of the limited conceptual range of vernacular PNG languages. As McLaughlin observed, and I quote him, "For other second language learners, for example Europeans and Asians, whose own education has progressed against a highly developed technological society, English language difficulties are likely to be those mostly of translation, since these learners have similar conceptual backgrounds to Americans, Australians, or Britons. For Papua New Guineans, however, it is not a matter of translation, but of concept acquisition. They firstly have to understand the reality that the English language symbols represent, before they can use the symbols intelligently in communicating. For no matter how many times a dictionary is used to assist in the intelligent use of the symbols, the meanings of individual words may not assist in cracking the language code that has its meaning embedded in alien concepts." McLaughlin points to the importance of extra classes in English language for university students, tutorials rather than lectures to develop conceptual understanding and independence. Melanesian communication involves much circular and repetitive expression, rather than the structured logic and sequential linear precision of English. One of the main solutions to this, in essay writing in particular, is the employment of drafts and personal and supportive oral communication about areas for improvement.